Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Today we're talking X-Wing. We've had some new information that's kind of been released related to the Aces style packs that are supposedly coming. These were announced at the AdeptiCon panel, so we're going to talk about that today. Also, gotta thank Luxury Playstyle for sponsoring this as well as my other X-Wing videos. If you haven't already, make sure you head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Use code Crabbok VIP. It's going to save you 15% on the most amazing tokens for X-Wing you are ever going to find. These are absolutely gorgeous, full metal, double-sided, and they're heavy, and they're just magnificent. You're going to absolutely love these. All right, so new Squadron Packs. We've got a new leak from a distributor that basically has names of new products, and we're going to talk about the names of these new products, what I think they might mean. Also, do check out some of the links. We've got the new face shields down in the description below. This one's the Boba Fett one. There's also Ahsoka. There's Darth Vader. There's some new ones coming up too, so be sure to check those out. Really cool stuff. They're good for cold weather. They can wrap around your whole head if you need them to. You don't have any straps. Nothing's gonna tie around your ears. And and they also keep you warm in the cold. And they're also, if you plan on going to any conventions ever in the next year or so, they're good things to be able to have. All right. So plus, it's a fashion statement too, right? All right. Then you help support the channel. So what do we know, right? We know that at AdeptiCon, they were talking about some of the new stuff. Hey, we got what's coming out next for X-Wing. Well, we got some new expansions. There are new Aces style packs that are basically going to be in the style of the old style Aces packs. So they give you an example here. They're showing the Rebel Aces, the Imperial Aces, or Imperial Veterans rather, or Rebel Veterans, Imperial Veterans, right? So that was kind of like hey, this is an example, and they talked a little bit about how it's gonna be new pilots, repaints, and all of that stuff. So that's pretty cool. They didn't give you too much information, but they did. They said a couple of important things, that they were gonna have a lot of upgrades, that they were going to potentially be good entry points for new players kind of getting into the faction, but not necessarily designed to be a starter. Right? It's not going to be a starter, but it's probably a good first buy. So of course, whenever they come out, I'm going to have to update my what to buy first list, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, here's what we got. Lion Rampant Imports. I'm going to put a link to this in the description below, so you can go check it out for yourself. But we got a couple of new things spoiled. You can see, I've already talked about like some of the new things like Jango Fett's Slave One and all of that other stuff that got leaked a long time ago. And these leaks have always been, leaks from distributors have likely always been true so far. There hasn't been any that have been false yet. But right here we've got Phoenix Cell Squadron Pack, Sky Strike Academy, and that actually says Academy, so that's obviously a typo, Squadron Pack, and Fugitives and Collaborators Squadron Pack. So looking at those, you're like, well, these might be the Aces packs that they were talking about. It certainly stands to reason that those might be, although granted, it's not confirmed, right, until FFG puts out something official, especially with the Academy. Is that like a late Father's Day present? Because I didn't get an Academy, but all right, more than likely somebody just accidentally, types that in incorrectly. But what might these be? All right, well, if we look at the Phoenix Cell, that sounds almost certainly like that's from Rebels. That sounds almost certainly for Rebels. And now, they did compare these a little bit to the Republican Separatist starters, and that they were going to be similar in some ways, but different in other ways. But the fact, during the Adepticon panel, when they talked about these, they deliberately compared them to those. And they said, well, how will this be a little different? And they're like, oh, well, it's going to be, a different focus. It's not meant to be the intro and the starter. It's meant to be, a supplement kind of. But a lot of people were thinking that, well, perhaps there's 3 ships in these compared to like the Aces packs of old that had only 2 ships. So there's a whole lot of things that we can speculate. The thing is, what we do know is it's going to be more than 1 ship per. All right, it wouldn't be called a squadron set, right? It just wouldn't be that. It would be a ship pack. It would be a specific one. So if it's Phoenix Cell, well, naturally that draws you to Star Wars Rebels. So A-Wing, right? You're going to have a Phoenix Squadron A-Wing in there. Probably going to have pilots from and the thing is, there's pilots missing. We might that we haven't seen for lots of stuff. And definitely A-Wings could use some loving, right? So I expect, we're going to see an A-Wing. I think we'll see a B-Wing. We had that. It was kind of broken. They may not do it, but you did have that orange B-Wing, that prototype B-Wing that Hera flew. Hera flies everything. We joke in X-Wing that Sabine's got a ship and everything, but after this pack, it might be Hera and everything, because Hera flies A-Wings, she flies a B-Wing, she flies an X-Wing. Hera flies everything, right? So we might see all of those. We also might see other reprints of stuff that they maybe don't want to do a whole dedicated second edition reprint of. So like a TIE Fighter. They might get that Rebel version of the TIE Fighter that might show up there. We might see the attack shuttle, the original, the Phantom 1, because they haven't done that yet. I really am curious how they're going to do the Phantom 1, if it's, and how they're going to make it dock with the Ghost, or if it is even going to physically dock with the Ghost. We know mechanically it can. So again, if this is based on Phoenix Cell, it makes sense that they're going to do a lot of Rebel stuff. So I expect pilots like Hera and Sabine. We might even see, probably more Ezra and things like that. We might even see Martin Matten in Iron Squadron for in their YT-2400. That might maybe some new options for a YT-2400. That might be something else that they might do. Now, granted, putting ships that are bigger than small ships into like a 2 or 3 ship pack is going to make that price point really high. So my gut wants to say they're probably only going with small ships in these packs, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. So that's really interesting. Now the Sky Strike, is Sky Strike Academy, right? So we're going to talk about the second one now. That's clearly Imperial Aces, right? That's going to be your Imperial Aces pack. Although we do know a lot of Rebels who've come out of Sky Strike Academy, right? Like Wedge. Wedge came out of there. So maybe we're going to get an Imperial version of Wedge. We also had, I believe, Dutch came out of that one. Was that Dutch? But we have Sabine actually flew in Sky Strike Academy. Here come the Sabine jokes, right? Because I believe Sabine attended. But there are other couple of interesting pilots too, like Vault Scaris or Commander Scaris. He was the Thrawn's prototype Defender pilot. Maybe Thrawn himself actually sitting down in a Defender. You don't see Thrawn pilot a whole lot, but in the books, I mean, it's not like he's never piloted a ship. He's just, it makes sense. If they're going to put him in anything, he should be in a Defender. So I would be totally down to have Thrawn in a TIE Defender. I think that would be awesome. But yes, and so I like ships that I expect we're going to see. Definitely the TIE Interceptor. I also definitely think we'll see the TIE Defender. And if they're going to throw a third ship in there, I would toss my hat in the ring for the TIE Phantom. All ships that could use a repaint. Now the Interceptor already does exist within second edition, so it's not like you needed a printing of that. And so it's really unclear if they're trying to use this as an opportunity to get ships into second edition that didn't have a second edition printing in the first place, or if they want this to be reprints or repaints of ships that are already in second edition, or a combination of both. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section. There is still that giveaway going on right now for a $25 Amazon gift card. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment, and it's as simple as that. That should be being announced next week, so stay tuned and usually watch my videos all the way to the end, because I do announce winners usually at the end of the videos. So let's speculate about Fugitives and Collaborators, because I think this one is the most interesting. Fugitives and Collaborators to me sounds like scum. I mean, whenever you have 3 things together, one is Rebel and one is Imperial. The third one usually is scum, because those were the first 3 factions in X-Wings, and Fugitives and Collaborators could certainly be scum. It might be other things too, because there's been speculation that, well, it might be Resistance also. But I'm going to talk about scum, the possibilities of scum first, because I think the Fang is when I think of Collaborators, I think of the Concord Dawn storyline from Star Wars Rebels. Again, if they're borrowing stuff from Star Wars Rebels, and we're going to see, we already know, I'm already guaranteeing we're probably going to see Hera in at least 1 or 2 more forms. And then if that means, and also Sky Strike Academy was featured in Star Wars Rebels. It's not only from that, but it was definitely in that. So, it stands to reason we might get Scum stuff from Star Wars Rebels too. And so so you've got Gar Saxon, right? You've got some of these bad Mandalorians that were collaborators with the Empire. So like maybe that's a thing. It certainly could be. That's kind of one of the things that I think of. Fugitives. I'm feeling like HWK is a good option. The Fang Fighter, maybe even the Quadrajet Space Tug. I feel like we might be able to see some of the criminal underworld that even kind of leans itself into the sequel trilogy. Maybe we'll get somebody from Kanja Club or the Guavian Death Gang in there. Although the Guavian Death Gang has their own ship, so I don't think they're going to do all new ships in these Aces packs. Again, I think these are going to be reprints of ships that already exist in the game, but still, I think there's definitely a lot of scum and villainy options that they could do. So what if I'm wrong? What if it's not scum and villainy, right? What if it's resistance? Well, why would Fugitives and collaborators be resistance? Well, a good answer for that is during the Adepticon panel, Max Brooks said point blank, the first Aces pack we're going to get is for the resistance. And he talked about why that may be an odd choice. They referenced the movie. They referenced episode 9, that there was a new X-Wing in there, actually with a paint job similar to this one right here on my shirt. Poe has a new bright orange X-Wing. And so basically they said we're going to get Poe in his new X-Wing, or at least Poe's new X-Wing in the resistance set. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting, but that's still, we still probably wouldn't get the black and orange one, which is going to be the most recognizable, but maybe, whatever. Or maybe they'll do 2 T-70 X-Wings in here. It's just what I need, more X-Wings. Well, I guess you should have more X-Wings in X-Wing. So there's certainly people thinking, no, the Resistance was going to be first. Now, they may have changed their mind, but this isn't the first of those 3. I think it's the second one, or the third one, rather. I want to draw your attention back to an older leak, and that was the X-Wing 2nd Edition Continental Working Title Expansion Pack. How much do you want to bet the Continental is not a Mandalorian ship? It's not the Razor Crest. How much do you want to bet the Continental is not even anything else? I think the Continental Working Title is your Resistance Aces pack. And we don't have a price for this, but this is my guess. My guess is the Continental expansion pack is basically going to be your Aces pack for the Resistance, and that will, that would explain why they had to put a code name on there. If this was something that was being developed before the movie came out, before Episode 9 came out, that theoretically should have already been revealed, but got pushed back because of COVID or something like that. That could potentially line up as to why they had a code name, because it was for some unreleased stuff. Compare that to all the stuff for Rebels, which is, you're not spoiling any plot stuff, because Rebels has been done. The Sky Strike Academy, Hera, Phoenix Cell, all that stuff is years in the past. But this would be one of the more current things. So, jumping back, and we've talked about the Continental a lot. I've thought it might have been something from Jedi Fallen Order. I thought it might have been something from The Mandalorian. Now I'm thinking, well, if the Resistance is supposed to be first, it would make, and here's why I think it fits. Because if the Continental is the Resistance one, that means everybody's going to get something out of the next, basically, batch of releases. If you look at the 3 ships we've got, you've got Republic, Separatists, and First Order, right? There's nothing for the Resistance. All right, then you've got the TIE RB. Okay, I get that. The TIE RB is coming, so you got something for Empire. And that's from Solo, and that was just definitely something that everybody wanted to see. But if the Continental is not Resistance, then you've got 3 more Aces packs, and Rebels, Empire, and Scum and Villainy. Well, now all of a sudden, if we rebuild the puzzle and we say that the Continental is the Resistance Aces pack, now that means every faction gets something new out of the next 7 or 8 expansions. That makes a lot more sense to me, because either way you're leaving somebody out, right? If Scum and Villainy might not have anything, well, unless of course this is Razor Crest, but it makes a lot more sense that because I'm sorry, collaborators and it could work. Fugitives and collaborators could be Resistance, but it sounds a lot more like a Scum and Villainy name to me. It doesn't sound like anything that applies to episode 9, right? Like I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So I think Continental is going to be that Resistance expansion, and I think that's it. So I'm gonna have links in the description if you want to go take a look and browse and look at all the upcoming stuff again for yourself. I don't, and a lot of people are asking why is all this stuff in, being like kind of like leaked through distributors' websites and stuff, and I think all this stuff was probably planned to be announced by now, and it's just due to the COVID and all of the slowdowns that have happened that things just didn't get announced when they were supposed to get announced, and they were trying to stop the machine from rolling, and I think just some people didn't get the message. So I think that's kind of why all this happened. I would predict that in the coming year, everything's going to get caught up, and we'll actually be getting new product announcements from FFG when they're ready to announce them, as opposed to being leaked through distributors. That's kind of my guess. But all right, well, that's about all I've got. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons as well. If you do want to support the channel, be sure to check out the merch, as well as the links to social media and Patreon in the description below. Again, thank you so much, and as always, have a great day.